Fitzgerald. I'm the owner of Cycle Bar Norman and Cycle Bar Chisholm Creek.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rohde. I'm a podiatric foot and ankle surgeon with Orthopedic and Sports Medicine Center in Norman.
We did surgery for his Achilles tendon recently. We're just going to talk to you back and forth both about Cycle Bar and about how the surgery was and what his Achilles issue had entailed and how it affected his cycling and his life in general. So tell them a little bit about yourself.
Well, I appreciate that. So thanks, Dr. Rohde. I'm Pat Fitzgerald, the owner of a couple cycle bars here in Oklahoma, and I'm an older guy. So from that, things don't go as well on the body sometimes as you want. And over time, my Achilles was my foot actually was messing up and couldn't figure out what was going on. And then right before we opened this cycle bar, I stepped out of my truck and I heard the pop that you hear about all the time. And next thing I know, I was finding a phenomenal surgeon, and thank goodness I found Dr. Rohde. And we had surgery literally 2 weeks before I opened this. So I haven't been able to ride on the bikes until just recently after rehab. Now I'm riding again, and so everything is now working the way that it needs to. But it was a culmination over time of issues, and it was definitely, Achilles surgery is not for the faint of heart. So it was great that I found a really, really great person, not only on the surgery side, but also on the care side, as well as the staff. And it's been a really, really great service, and appreciate it.
So he came in, obviously after stepping out of his truck, and he said he felt the pop, and we ended up getting an MRI and noticed that there was a small tear in the Achilles tendon, but he also had issues because of his very tight Achilles tendon that over time created a spur within the Achilles tendon. It's called a retrocalcaneal exostosis. And it happens in a lot of people that have very tight Achilles tendon, tight calf muscles. That combined with, we also have another deformity called a Haglund's deformity, which is a bump of the calcaneus more proximally that caused essentially the culmination of all of his issues to create the tear and create his pain. So what we did, after the MRI, he came in and we discussed surgery, and I told him that it would probably be best, rather than just fixing the tear alone, to take the bumps off to kind of get rid of the issue that caused the problem, as well as the painful bumps. These bumps often rub in shoe gear. A lot of people get bursal cysts, which are basically fluid pockets around the Achilles tendon because of these bone prominences where the shoe gear rubs consistently and everything else. Some people will even get small sores and everything just from rubbing on the shoe. But based on his foot structure, we decided that it would probably be best to go with the full gambit of excising the retrocalcaneal exostosis and excising the Haglund's bump. And with that, what you have to do is you have to detach the Achilles tendon, shave off all the bumps, smooth down the heel bone, and then reattach it with anchors. So we had that planned, and a few weeks later he came in for surgery and we performed it, and everything went well. How was the surgery itself?
Surgery itself was fine. I was shocked at how good I felt after the surgery. Obviously, getting no weight on the foot for some time, but the surgery itself was great. I mean, and the surgery center as well that we had it in. Again, care was outstanding, and so the whole process, again was really good. As a guy who's had surgery a couple of times with spine and back and those kind of things as well. But everything that you told me to do, I did. I followed the playbook that Dr. Rohde gave me to the T, and I was able to do the stuff that I needed to do. I learned how to ride the scooter. The scooter I never want to see again, though, just because it's just a little harder to get around on. But I learned how to use that scooter very well, and then once we had that, the air cast was really great. It really helped in that process as well.
Now we did what was called a popliteal block on you, correct? where
Yep.
basically
Down.
you numbed from the knee
Knee down.
down. How long of numbness did you get from that, so where you had pain relief after surgery?
At least 3 days or so. Yeah, about 3 days. So I didn't really have any. Again, the pain wasn't, even after the surgery, wasn't that bad, even after the third day. So, I know you get prescribed pain meds, those kind of things as well. I think I may have taken them maybe 2 or 3 times, not even 2 to 3 days. And then I never took them after that time at all. So I didn't have a lot of pain with it. The biggest deal was just, I think, more being scared, mobility-wise, that I didn't want to tear it again. I didn't want to goof anything up. So I was just trying to be, really cautious with the process. But yeah, I didn't really have a lot of pain. But the block, worked really well, or I just didn't have a lot of pain. I don't know, either way. But I did not have a lot of pain with the surgery. And I know there was a lot that went on with it because of the deformities I had, because it wasn't just the Achilles, it was the bump that was rubbing on my shoe for the last 9 months. And, and we just couldn't figure out what the heck that, why it kept getting worse. And it felt like I had a second heel, basically, because it was so hard. And then all the other aspects that went with it. So
Good. How would you say, what would you say the biggest issue you had to overcome after surgery?
the biggest issue for me over surgery was just like any surgery, the mobility for getting around on the scooter. And so because I couldn't put it was weight bearing, so there was no weight to be able to put on there. And again, not using crutches but using the scooter, was just getting around on that scooter and still working. I actually opened this cycle bar 10 days after the surgery, and so that was our opening. And so I had to be here. So being here, working, get everything ready for this to open, things didn't stop. But that was probably the hardest piece because it was 14-hour days on a scooter, and which wasn't part of the doctor's playbook, by the way, because he did give me trouble about that. But that was probably the hardest piece. Outside of that, it really wasn't much at all, and I was really glad to get the cast off done.
Oh, yeah.
More than anything else, just because it was itchy. And so you couldn't scratch inside the cast. And so, and again, being at that time, I'm now 57, it was my first cast that I ever had in my life at 56. So I was really glad to get that sucker off and go to the air cast.
Now, most people, they get kind of cast rage and they don't like to have repetitive casts all the time. But for the initial 4 weeks after surgery, you want it really well protected and immobilized so that the tendon can re-adhere into the bone. Because initially with this surgery, the anchors we use, they are 4 anchors that are a knotless system that tie the Achilles into the calcaneus, which is the heel bone. The issue is that initially after surgery, the only thing that's holding your Achilles, which is the primary muscle that pushes you off as you walk, is those 4 anchors. So we can't let you weight bear immediately. Right. But we do everything we can to protect it initially so we can get those Achilles fibers into the bone and then gradually let you start with it. Before surgery, with your issue, what was, as far as your pain and the rubbing in the shoe gear and everything else, did it affect your cycling and did it affect your daily life quite a bit?
Oh yeah, it did. I mean, it was in cycles too, because it would, when I started having issues was actually in the fall, a year prior. So, the fall of 2018 is when I started having the issues. And, I had it, I didn't cycle for about 3 or 4 months because it was burning all the time. It was hard. I didn't work out. So it wasn't just cycling. I didn't do much of anything because every time I tried to do something on it, I was afraid it was going to tear, because at that time they thought that I had, strained it pretty badly, but, and I had not seen Dr. Rohde yet. I had not seen a specialist. And so, so I just thought over time they would, get better. And so it did, for about 4 months. And then I started cycling again. I was working out again. Everything was really, really great. I really wasn't feeling any major issues until I stepped really out of my truck. I wish I could say I was dunking a basketball or anything like that, but it wasn't what happened. And then that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And then I heard it pop, and I was rolling around on the concrete out here. And then I quickly got in the car, called my wife, and said, I got to find a really good surgeon because I'm pretty confident that I need surgery like pretty quick. And so, and then very, very luckily, we found Dr. Rohde through the same doctors that I had before, Dr. Moses and stuff, at the same clinic, and was able to get in really quickly and get the MRI done, and then determined, yes, for sure, you're a major candidate. Get this done like ASAP.
So after surgery, you say initially you didn't have much pain. When would you say the pain truly really started getting to you as far as post-surgical pain?
I would say post-surgical pain. Probably on that 4th day a little bit. That's when I started having some pain. That's when I did take some pain medicine during those days, because that was the first time that I had really experienced any pain from it. And it was more of a pain. It was more of a dull pain that was hard for me to sleep. And so it was really more of cutting that down so I could sleep at night. It was really not during the day, all that kind of stuff, but it was really more of a night thing. And that really helped me, through that angle. But after that, literally it was really quick, didn't have it anymore. And then I never really had an issue with that. So that was the only pain. And the rest of it, I would call it nuisance, with being, tied to a scooter, all this kind of stuff, which you have to do to let, like Dr. Rohde said, to make sure that it heals and that it's not moving around. And so that the anchors, when they do begin to take, so that, I was going to be able to get better faster. Because at first, they did tell me it was going to be a long period, and I'm like, I want to get back on a bike sooner. So I kept challenging myself and Dr. Rohde, let's figure out a way that I can even get back on these bikes and get stuff going even sooner. And he said, okay, let's go, let's figure out a plan.